All right, that works. Nice, that's working. All right. Well, we're gonna need a few people to play vote chess, so I'll wait a few minutes to get our first game started. Maybe I'll just play Lee one-on-one while waiting. Why not? All right. Oh, I forgot about Rook D1. Hey, Snot Boy. Knight's coming to d4, I suppose. So if I take on f3 with the knight, rook takes a8. I could take with the bishop. Knight takes, bishop e2. f4? White can't play f4 right now. I wondered about that 1800 strength, and I thought white would have rook takes rook on f8 with check. So finally I took my knight on f6 that wasn't doing anything, and I brought it to g5 where it attacked h3 and f3. And then the opponent had to trade the dark squared bishop for my previously stupid knight. Now suddenly I think I'm winning. I don't know if the computer played the best moves against knight h7 to g5, but it certainly produced a very nice result for me here. Now, by the way, a move like knight f3 is possible because on like rook takes a8, knight takes knight, rook f8 check, you take back with your king. Right? Before the bishop was defending the knight on d4, so at the end the opponent could take back the piece. So here knight f3 is possible. I can also play g4. I'm expecting on g4 the opponent to try something like, you know, bishop c6 or something, but I suppose on bishop c6 I could take it with my knight and then keep playing without trading that. So the choices are knight f3 or g4 really, because I want to play something decisive here. I know normally you would like get the rook developed, but right now anywhere I put the rook, it's just going to be on defending the bishop duty. So it's not really going to do anything on the E file, B file, C file, anywhere as far as I can tell. That's why I haven't been adding the rook to the game. Oh, queen d5 check. I didn't see that. Oh, that's what you calculated, huh? Yeah, sorry, Michiko. We're not voting just yet. I was waiting for a few people to arrive. So I'm just playing a game while waiting for people to show up. The savage bishop b7. I don't know, rook b6. What's the plan? I'm being patient too, Michiko. It's not like I wanted to play against this computer. I have not, Francis. So I was told today for the first time. I should test it out at some point. Yeah, I'm feeling more or less all right, Samuel. I mean, not good, but not too bad. So just so you guys know, those of you starting to gather, we have a match on Sunday of Vote Chess. So that was an extra indication for me to give us some more Vote Chess practice in for us. So hopefully I'll win this game pretty soon, and then we'll start it. That's right. If I had absolutely no immune response, we'd be worried. And I think in general I have apparently fairly low immune responses. So hopefully I feel a little bit not good. My instinct is to play g4. Ooh, nice, Nelson. Or Nels. Yeah. There's several good options here. To me, the most logical is to play g4. So that's what I'm going to do, even though I haven't finished like calculating it. All right, so this move here, which I thought might happen. Okay, yeah. I can just do it like this. Okay, so the options here would now be like rook e8 and f2, I would say. Or those are the big options to me. Right, that's one of the two moves I said, Wango. I said either f2 or rook e8. Presumably white's plan is to play b5 in response. So that's all we have to figure out. No, I mean one or the other. That's sort of like the two main ideas I see are those two moves, and then, you know, we can try them in each order. Typically in a position like this. One other idea is to go, you know, bishop b7, rook b6, bishop c8 at some point, right? So I could play like rook e8 here, then b5, bishop here. Or even bishop here right now, rook b6, bishop c8. Then knight e7 comes in if I do it before rook e8. g6, king g7, rook h8. That's less well coordinated. You know, white will always have queen a1 check. If you play f6, rook a7 check. Also, rook takes bishop. And g6, king g7, rook h8, king h2. Just sort of blocking what you were doing in one move. And it took us 3 moves to threaten it. So something like rook e8 with the idea of rook e2 or f2, rook e1, it's got a lot more different strings to it for what we can do here. Yeah. B5 coming. I'll just go to the open file. What do I know? That's right, Baron. After f2, queen f2, I would not have played queen d5 check. I would have played queen b5. Probably. Or just f2, queen f2. There's queen h3 check. f2, queen f2, rook e8 in that position, just developing the rook and leaving the threats of queen h3, queen d1, queen d5, queen b5, all hanging over black at once. So, howdy, Leafia. All right, good to see that you guys are starting to gather. We're going to need your force in a minute here. I think f2 here is winning. They could, Baron, yeah. Then I'd have queen f1, king h2, rook e8 again, going for a checkmate. So I think it was pretty sound that white wouldn't be able to take that pawn, but I might play f2 here instead now. Rook e1 now, says Wango. Oh, rook e1 now. Dang, that's a nice move. Yeah, you guys can already see the little board. We'll start voting in a second. I think I've almost got Lee finished off. Well, Wango, I think you're right about rook e1, but I'm going to keep looking at the moves that I would have maybe found on my own, which is not I did not see rook e1. That's a very nice move. Highly approve. Highly approve of that move. Okay, but I wasn't going to see it. At least not now. I was going to look at f2 and bishop b7. So f2, if queen f2, I have queen d1 and then rook down winning the queen. f2, on any random move, I have rook e1. f2, king to g2. Yeah, f2, king g2, slightly annoying. Okay, other option goes bishop b7. Only move rook b6. Then bishop c8. And then in that position, the opponent has rook b8 as the only real defense. But it does defend. Okay, another option is bishop takes c6, rook takes c6, rook e2. And then just win. And then just win. Yeah, that's right, Wango. Your rook e1 idea, I mean, we could also trade on c6 and then play it. It's a very, 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 very clean to not even give up the bishop, right? Bishop c6, rook c6, rook e1 here would probably be like the computer line for black at this point. But I wouldn't have seen it without you, so I'm gonna play something I might have played here. Queen h4, threatening rook e1. That seems to win. Okay, you guys have probably been looking at this position long enough. Let's just do something. Queen e5. Queen check. G6, rook f7. That's the reason for that. Queen b1's an actual sort of threat here, huh? Yeah, against rook g2 and against queen e5, white plays queen b1. Maybe in the rook g2 line I can allow it. Queen b1 check, g6, rook f7 check, king to g8, and the g6 pawn's defended. It would be nice to win without letting the opponent even check us, right? Wouldn't that be preferable? Rook e4 here. I like where I like being on the second rank. We're going to mate her in a moment here, folks. This is almost mate. I'll stop checks like this. F2 lets the white king come up to G2. Every move's winning, but... All right. You guys ready to take over? Next game is you. Zero mistakes, zero blunders, zero missed wins, it says. All right. Now it's up to you guys to do it. All right, you guys are white. We're going to start the voting. All right. So it's going to be on this little board below you. It's going to be move, vote, 60 seconds. And you just click on the squares. I thought that might be you, Wango, voting for B4. Hey, Aaron. Ah, good to have you, Code Banan. Right now, we're just letting people the first couple moves. I'm going to pick the move. I'm just letting you test out the voting thing and get comfortable with it. You guys should see that it's possible to X a vote that you've cast and then cast a different vote, like if you mouse slip for some reason. Right, so if you put like D4 to D2 or something like that, it's possible to exit and then go back and put in D2 to D4. If you guys see that. In the overlay. So right next to where you would have your move. Right next to where you where you would have your move show, you could put an X. Let me see. I'll start the move vote again just so I can see it. Like if I put, it says move E2 to E4, and then there's a little X between that and the time ticking down, 50, 49. I can click on the little X to get rid of my vote and then put in a different vote. So if you make a vote and then you decide you don't like that vote, or you know, somebody makes a comment in chat like this move loses to this variation, you're like, oh, I don't want to vote for this move anymore. That's how you can do it. Yeah, you probably have to change the size. It does, the little X interferes with that little purple box. You have to change the size of your window. If you go full screen, you can definitely click on the X, I believe, but it may depend on your interface and everything. But if you resize the window, that should be a way around it. Anyway, B4 wins the first move vote. All right, she played E5. 60 seconds to vote. So whoever clicked on e2 to e2, see if you can click on an X to delete that move, and then try a different move in its place. Okay, theory might be bishop b2, but why would you play bishop b2, Wango? What's good about it? Why is that logical to put the bishop on b2 here? Everyone seems to be voting with you, but Dritman calls sin. Someone trades a center for development. I forget who gets what. Well, bishop b2, bishop b4, bishop takes e5. Who does seem to be getting ahead in development, and who does seem to be getting ahead in central pawns? It's not too hard to figure out who it is. Right, there's no other good developing moves, and it threatens the pawn. It's the only good square for that bishop. Whoa! Lee's probably taking us out of Wango's theory, so that means now 0 of us are in theory. It used to be there was Wango. Now there's nobody. All right, guys, you're going to have to figure out what makes sense here. This is all still Wango theory? You've looked at queen f6 before? For those of you who don't know, we have played against Lee 3 times already. We got 3 winning positions and drew the first game, drew the second game, and lost the third game. Absolute shame. So we really need to be able to beat Lee if we want to win a vote chess game against another channel on Sunday. Okay. Michiko, do you see the gray overlay at all or not? Like, do you have a gray board overlay, or is that missing for you? All right, the winning vote is knight f3. I just relay your moves. I don't interfere with your process. You do have the gray overlay. Okay, can you click on a square on that overlay? That's right, T-Drev. We've got a Polish opening going. Nice. Sometimes a refresh does it. All right, folks, so you need to start working on communicating a little bit about what moves look good to you. Okay, Wango's giving you a variation. You're suggesting after b5, knight d4, you could trade the knight and then play e3 next there. Aaron's suggesting the same thing. Yeah. Black's probably going to play bishop c5 in that position. Just, oh wait, I'm not supposed to help you guys. Anyway, the vote was for b5. You'll get deeper into it as the game advances. The B pawn has gone wandering ahead on its own. Yeah. All right. The vote went for knight takes d4. Drittman, knight e5, queen e5, e3, bishop c5, and then what? This is not a very no. This is a very rare position, Michiko. All right, but let me warn you guys of one thing before I go further. We only had 10 votes on that last move. We really need 20 people voting to have a chance against Lee, and probably more. But we need to get at least to 20 people voting. The more people vote, the better off we are. All right, guys? So I'm going to go ahead another move, but if you're sitting there watching, help us out. There is a timer on the voting. It's 60-second votes. You can see time ticking down for those of you who have the overlay. 51, 50, 49. Lee says, captures always make me happy. Well, glad the robot's happy. It's fine if you don't understand, just vote for something. If enough people vote, no matter how bad a move you vote for, other people won't have voted for the same mistake as you, but when you vote for a good move, other people voted for the same good move as you. All right, I appreciate you. A few more people putting in votes. That's definitely going to help us. All right, and the winning vote was E3, and we will go ahead. Huh. I was really certain she would play bishop c5 there. Absolutely, Wango. It's an opportunity to really think. Starting with the Polish was perfect. I don't think any of those things you should have to click T-Drev. Okay. T-Drev, ideally you don't even have a menu, you know, like ideally you just see an overlay in gray with sort of squares on a board and then you can click on them. Right now it should say no active voting and you can't actually click on anything, but when we start the next vote, hopefully you'd be able to click on squares in order to cast a vote. Michiko just wants to develop. How weird. Oh no, the position's too weird, says Michiko. Not the idea of just developing all the pieces. There are two different gray X's, Wango. One is in the way upper right corner of the overlay, and it does close the whole thing. The other will be when voting is active and you've made a vote, there will be a little X that will appear right next to your vote as soon as you finish inputting your vote. So when you click E2, it doesn't show it. When you click E4 and you've clicked on two different squares, it then shows a little X right next to the vote. So the vote here was 10-6 in favor of taking this pawn en passant. And now I'll reopen voting. The B pawn's weird journey has ended on C6. This bishop's having a field day. Hosepud says stop the count. I'm not stopping the count, Hosepud, because we need to get more people in here voting and getting used to the overlay, which is like finicky. So I'm letting the count roll out, even though the vote's already decided. But yeah, normally if there's 90% votes for one move, then I'll cut off the vote halfway through and just play the move that everybody's voted for to save time. But right now I'm just trying to make sure that everybody's comfortable with what we're doing. White has better development, tempo, center, and material. You can add that to your list, Wango. We are doing great. But now nobody has any idea what to do anymore. 30 seconds in and we've got 2 votes. No problem, little spaghetti. You can X your move when you misclick and then re-enter it. Bishop d3 just barely wins the vote. And can anybody tell us what was wrong with the move knight c3, which got second place in the voting? Anybody want to tell your teammates what would have happened on knight c3? Steve Nash, Hosepud. Thank you. All right. So you guys, you need to help your teammates out. We've got no chance if we hang a piece. No chance, right? So when your friends are voting for knight c3, or your teammates are voting for knight c3, you got to tell them knight c3, c5, we're going to lose the bishop, right? Somebody said knight c3, we can use the b file for the rook. You have to tell them, yes, you get the b file, but you lose the bishop to c5, right? Then we had several votes for knight to a3, and it sounds like somebody in chat has noticed a problem with knight a3, which is maybe bishop takes a3. That needs to be discussed as well. All right. So, yeah, the time is not very much. So we have to get really good at communicating a bit quickly. You don't need to be able to see the other votes before you vote. You vote for what you think is best, but you can see people chatting in the chat. People were saying they wanted to play knight c3. We do have 60 seconds, Wango. We have 60 seconds. We've been doing 60 seconds of move so far. Yep. All right, anyway. Luckily, the winning move was this. And here comes another move vote. And you can see the time is going to tick down 58, 57, 56. Right, you can just type, boo, knight c3. Or give some kind of a reason, maybe, quickly. Ooh, this is what we need. More people tonight. Thanks for sending people our way, Davina. Raiders, we need you. We need you. We're playing vote chess, and we need more votes to be good. Right now, we're not very good yet. This is our 4th time trying to beat Lee. It's our 4th try. Exactly. We could really use the more peeps. You're smart. All right, peeps, stay here. Davina sent you here for a reason, and we need you, and we won't bite. We don't even care if you vote for bad moves. We just need you to vote. All right, bishop to b2 was chosen here by the vote on this one. Next move vote comes up. Yeah, it's fine if you vote for bad moves. Different people will vote for different bad moves. And somehow good moves will emerge. Wow. Lee's really going all out with that C pawn, huh? Okay, now you guys are doing a great job of talking. That's good. My confidence is growing. But I do think we need at least 20 people voting per move to win. If it's any comfort for you, Code Banan, this C pawn is just like weakening itself. So you're actually going to be better off here after bishop d3, e2 than you would have been had you just played bishop e2. So Lee's move is actually bad, if that makes you feel happier. Oh, we got over 20 votes. Davina did it for us. Thank you, Raiders, for sticking around to help us. We appreciate you and need you. We really want to beat Lee. I really want to see the team beat Lee. I'm not going to be helping because people will be swayed too much by what I say. It won't even make us play better. Because like if I suggest a blunder, too many people will just vote for it because I'm the one who suggested it. So it's best for me not to say anything, really. I'm just here to help coordinate. Keep everybody working together. That's correct, T-Drev. Yeah, right now I see, like, for example, 14 votes for E1, G1. No. You do not see Man About a Dog. I actually played an I Am Norm tournament once where I fell asleep at the board. Or, to be very precise, on the board. Leaning forward onto the board. All right. The vote was for castles. All right, she goes for the long diagonal. My opponent's move, Baron. Okay. It's our move again here. 40 seconds left. I think snoring at the board is just as bad as talking at the board, yeah. Highly frowned upon. If rarer, and thus it would have like an entertaining component, which talking at the board really just... There's nothing cute about just talking at the board in a chess tournament. Okay, voting finishes. And it's for bishop f3. Looks pretty good to me. Lee's kind of like annoyed about this g7 square, so she's still sort of figuring things out, but we're also struggling to figure out our things out. It's a very, very unusual position. Okay, the vote was much closer here. And finally goes for knight c3. I don't know the answer here either, by the way, folks. It was a tricky position. All right, Lee happily plays bishop e7. Thinks she's getting a castle. It's not intentional. I don't know if FIDE has extensive rules about tics and snoring during games. Oh, A4 is an interesting idea. I wouldn't really have thought of that. Well, maybe. All right, and the vote goes to D3. Oh yeah, Michiko, D3 before the knight came out, you could have put the knight on D2 to really pressure C4, and you would have left the bishop on B2 open to attack G7. Might be a good idea for us to employ next time we play this Polish opening. Oh. Okay, the winning vote is A4. I don't know, Baron, because Kostya is going to be the one running the match on Sunday. But I'm guessing that it'll be something in the range of like 1 or 2 minutes per move. It's my vague guess. Okay, you guys all want to recapture. Now that stuff has happened, let me just tell you guys an idea that I had for us on this move where we played A4. I thought of maybe trading, which in general we didn't want to do because their queen takes the long diagonal. But if we trade light squared bishops and then play E4, then we get to land a knight on D5. And the E4 pawn keeps their knight from coming to F5. And after trading light squared bishops, we put all our pawns on light squares. Would have been interesting. Would have been interesting. All right, here the vote is for pawn takes by a long mile. It does seem, man. That's a cool variation that you found there. Obviously one to avoid rather than pursue, but still a very cool variation. You need more time, huh? All right, the vote went for trading the bishop. I should never say anything about the position. I meant like, you know, there was an idea 2 moves ago. But all right. There's a 15-second lag, so you get very little, huh? Okay. Here's the position, folks. I won't say anything. Or I can't guarantee I won't say anything. I'll try not to say anything. CloudSat thinks it's a Sicilian. If he only knew. If he only knew how funky it was. I think castling was a good idea, Wango. Yeah, if I'm allowed to say something about something 7 moves ago without affecting the vote now. All right, Rook C1 wins the vote here. Good point, Post. I will even more shut up. All right, 50 seconds on this one. Queen just moved. Lots of possible moves here. I expect a wildly split vote. I know, Post. I thought it was a good joke. Knight b5 was better? Huh. Well, knight e4 is what the team thought. Oh, she gets fancy. She gets fancy. And our first vote is for resignation. I've never played an opponent who smoked at the board. Nope. You guys are doing better. You're doing much better at communicating than on previous team efforts. Okay. Sometimes I relay the wrong move, which is really a bummer for you all when I put the wrong move in by accident. That's right, C-Man. I think it was pretty much illegal already by the time I was playing. I think there was like limited indoor smoking already in my childhood, and I didn't start playing chess till I was in tournaments until I was 12. And I started out playing in like a kids club for the first year, where obviously nobody was going to be smoking. I mean, not at a tournament. Actually, I've played somebody who smoked at a board, outdoors, but never in like a chess tournament in like a typical American hotel or whatever. Oh, the vote is done. People were unsure of this, and we didn't get many votes. Queen c2 won the vote. Designating smoking areas at kids' tournaments. Okay, looks like you guys have voted for knight to d2. There was one vote for queen a2. A lot of people thought that knight c3 would be bad here, probably because of moves like rook c8 or something. But oddly enough, if you notice this queen a2 idea, we can force our knight to d5 here with queen a2 check, king over knight c3, and then knight d5. Not saying it's better, it's just a surprising little idea that one of us noticed. Majority voted for knight d2, but I don't think that the majority had agreed where the knight was headed next between c4 and f3. Yeah, Lee's not a Patzer. I played her one-on-one right before we started voting, and it was not easy. Okay, winning vote is knight to c4. Cool. Very cool. Zoras, welcome to the dojo community. Thanks for supporting and following us. Yeah, the computers all play more or less instantly, I think, Steve North. Queen b3. What? She just left her king on that diagonal? Like, who cares? If you guys think I'm afraid. Wow. That was a surprise move. Five, four, 3, 2, 1. 95 wins. All right, you guys didn't get the message across that queen d5 would save the queen. Wah, wah. You guys are voting on the little gray board. Chat is just to communicate with each other. Chat is just to hash it out a little bit. Have a little chit chat. That's correct, von Igelfeld. Seems like we've just lost ourselves a pawn. We wasted our tactical energy as well. Yep. That's true too. Post. We could have brought the knight back to c4, but then queen takes d3 would have still won the pawn. So instead of knight e5, I think the best move would have just been rook d1, defending the d3 pawn extra in that position. Anyway, water under the bridge. E4 might have been really good too, Radsec. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it. Bishop a3 I had thought of. That was my second move after rook d1. Okay, the winning vote here is d4. All right. The votes come in for trading the pawn. Yeah, this was very, very clever by Lee to play the b5 move before taking. She was very clever. All right, you guys have voted for taking this. Rook d1, huh? Leading vote so far. Okay, and that's the vote. Rook d1. Interesting. I probably wouldn't have seen that move myself if I were playing here. Would have probably gone for something like bishop d2, rook to a1. No, Pleafers. You vote by clicking your moves on the gray board. Saying stuff in chat is just to communicate with your team. Yeah, it is. You click on the square you want to move from and then the square you want to move to. And that does it. The silent majority, yeah. Oh, the vote was tied. Then we have to go into a tiebreaker where we go faster than 60 seconds. So now we go down to 30 seconds and vote again on the same move, folks. We had a three-way tie between h3, bishop a3, and rook d8. Dripman said rook d1 d8 is best, rook d1 d8 is bad. That's officially confusing. Wait, the vote hasn't started yet? The 30-second vote? Okay, here we go. Sorry. There we go. Now the 30-second vote. And Dripman's trying to calculate fast and then type it for everybody. Well, a lot of votes in the tiebreaker, but rook d8 wins by one vote. Oh, sorry, hang on. That was only 30 seconds. It's supposed to be a minute. Let me put it back to a minute and restart that. Sorry, guys. I know that was lame. It doesn't help the bishop for the opponent to have pawns on the queen side, though, does it, Elfins? We would like to still have a pawn on the queen side ourselves. All right, rook d7 is picked. All right, and an overwhelming vote coming in for rook takes on a7. Happy to see so many people voting. We'll make an early decision and go to the next move. All right, have we been accidentally brilliant? Wango thinks so. Rook c7 again wins in a landslide here. So we'll finish voting and go ahead. Knight g4, little spaghetti, was to use the knight on h6 finally. Okay, looks like we've got an overwhelming vote for h3 here. Whew, it's a tight vote this time. You can't stop a knight from doing weird things, Wango. That's what knights do. Alright, king h2 wins despite some objections that it was a decentralizing move. Black comes with knight to d5. All right, looks like rook c6 wins, and we're well over 20 votes on the move, so that's great news for us. Plus being up a pawn. Yeah, Wango, if you'd played rook c6 last move instead of king h2, then after black plays king f7, you would have played probably king h2, and then knight d5 got you in the exact same position. So I think it actually didn't make any difference if you played rook c6 before their knight moves or after their knight moves. You would have gotten yourself the same position in the end. Yeah, bishop a3 winning the vote. None of us really know why, but, you know, gets our bishop off a bad square, so that's what we voted for, apparently. See, at first, bishop c5 was winning the vote on this move, and then Wango said, don't play bishop c5, allowing the bishop to get pinned. And I guess enough people realized that Wango meant rook c3 would be a problem, and no one else voted for bishop c5 after that point. Wanga, you're very confident. Have you not been here for our other 3 games against Lee? We had positions even better than this, and we couldn't win any of them. No, that's fine, Shinigami. We would rather have you half vote while looking at other stuff than not vote. I still believe your vote will, on balance, help our team effort. Okay, and the vote goes for rook to c5. I definitely don't like this move. I think you've got better chances of pressing with the rook and bishop than with just the bishop. But I might be completely wrong. That's one of the fun things about this. I can learn stuff from the crowd's play. I thought keeping the rook and bishop on the board to bring the bishop here, attacking g7, and be able to eventually maneuver the rook to the 7th rank somehow was a great way to put pressure. Okay, you guys are obviously recapturing here. I wonder what the winning chances are in this endgame. I know if it were knight versus knight, you can basically win if you play like an absolute, machine. And I also know that if you trade the bishop for the knight, you'll be able to win, yes. King g3 loses the bishop, says Baron. Oh, King g3 is the 2nd highest voted move so far. Relevant point from Baron. Perhaps. Or maybe he's wrong. Maybe you guys should play King g3. Okay, the winning move ends up being f3. h6 from Lee. Fancy Ian. There should be a little gray board down this away. And people just click on the board. They click on the square they're moving a piece from, and then on the square they're moving it to. The board has no pieces on it, it's just empty coordinates. So like if you wanted to play king to h1 here, then down here you would click on the h2 square, then the h1 square. King g3 wins. You should vote, Pleafers. If you want us to win it, you should vote. I trust your voting to help us. I believe in you. I want your votes on our team. Maybe you can refresh Giant Slalom and get it working again. I'm not sure. But refreshing can fix things. What did she just do? Okay, I'll say nothing. Lee has played some real shockers against you guys. Okay, and the vote comes in to trade into the king upon ending. Good job, people. Your endgame knowledge is absolutely outstanding compared to Lee's. I'll guarantee you this much. If this king pawn ending isn't winning, then the bishop endgame versus knight wasn't winning. Like, that's always your best chance. Because your bishop's really going to struggle. The knight can blockade your king out in those endgames without your bishop being able to do anything. I like Steve Nash's explanation here. E4 wins, H4 makes no sense. I'm not saying that. That's just what Steve Nash said. Wow, and the vote comes in for H4. There is an interesting piece of endgame technique there. I'll hold my tongue. Oh, sorry. H takes G5 was voted on. Yeah, I'll share my opinions after the game, Spaghetti. Exactly. Okay, winning vote is E4. G4 would have been a sick draw for Lee, yeah. Amazing spot by Falk at that speed. Oh, sorry. Start the vote for this next move. My bad, guys. My bad. All right, 100% for recapturing. I was just blown away by that E4 G4 idea from Falk. It was hard for me to get my brain unblown by that. I think that was yet another gift from Lee for our team. You guys could be on the cusp of finally beating her after 4 games. Yeah, Falk's a man, so you can say man to him. Yeah, G4 after E4 was a miracle draw, Steve Nash. Pretty crazy, huh, Steve Nash? You guys have basically 3 legal moves here, and they're all getting voted for. Yeah, looks like the vote's coming in for E5. So I'll do that. Yeah, all the legal moves were winning there, Ratsec. But yeah, King H5 or G3 looked cleaner than E5. But, I mean, E5 just was fine too. Didn't matter. Leah's tilted with King E7. Should I just finish it off for you guys to save time? We can go to 30 seconds a move voting or 15 seconds a move voting. It's a good suggestion. Let's speed it up at least to 30 seconds. I mean, you guys have never won against Lee. I don't want to do it for you. I want to spoil the chance for you guys to win a game. That is an incredible idea, huh, Steve? Wow. Tied vote, guys. Okay, G4 wins at the last second. Whew. Didn't want to do a tiebreaker. Once you get a queen, I'll stop. I'll call it in your favor. But I don't trust you guys yet. No offense. She's slipped away from us 3 times already. All right, King G6 with an overwhelming vote. We'll do that. All right, G5 wins the vote. That's what Elfins is talking about. King lays out the red carpet. All right, you guys got it. You beat her. Good job. There you go, guys. Congratulations! You finally beaten Lee. I did that just for that purpose, Baron. I don't actually play Blitz or Bullet or Pre-Move much in my real life, but I did that for Jesse. All right. That was tough, guys. 4 times we had to play her to get the point. And that game was not clean. It was intense. All right, let's go through it. All right, I'm going to have to fix the screen capture here for y'all. Okay. Why did Lee blunder so many times? I mean, she's programmed to make some mistakes. Can you access the PGN of this game? Sure. Here it is. That should give it to you. From there, you should be able to grab it if you want to. We're gonna study it together now for a little bit. Go over it. Before we do that, let me just make a random announcement, folks. Look at this. Classical registration is open now for the May-June tournament. I mean, the April one's almost done, right? We've got 4 days left to play out the April tournament. We're in round 4 right now. So there's the link. You guys can join the tournament for May-June. It's going to be an 8-rounder. So more intense in a way. Although none of our tournaments are ever that intense because you can request 7 buys and just play 1 game. It'll be very not intense if you play it that way. But if you want to make it intense for yourself in your own mind, you know, an 8-week grind, you're trying to win your section, it'll be broken up into fairly reasonable rating bands, so you'll have a shot at winning your section if that's what you're into. You can do that. It's a $0 tournament this time, Wango. And yeah, you can join whenever you're ready. Yeah, Pleaf would like to see a lot of players under 1,000. If we get enough players under 1,000, then Pleaf won't have to play with people over 1,000. The last tiebreak game from the March Classical, the Alexa and McCarrot tournament is tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. Like this morning. Yeah, Fancy. And we started out with some 400 rated bots. We beat them really brutally. Then we beat bots in the like 800, 1200, 1300, 1400 range. And then we jumped up to Lee. And that was a mountain to climb, that Lee was. That's right, Code Banan. It does not feel like playing a human, really, but... Yeah, well, with your team behind you, Pleaf, we could beat Vin altogether if you want to. We did not, Wango. We had an amazing winning position, but we did not win. We drew a winning game, and lost a winning game. The tournament's 90 and 30, von Egelfeld. So like you start with 90 and you get 30 seconds per move added. Ooh, looks like the Night Professor's in chat. Awesome. Nice to see you, Ed. Oh. Good to have you in the tournament. All right. So let's have a look at this game. First of all, let's start from near the end here. Obviously, Lee should move the knight. I don't think we're going to win this endgame, honestly. I don't think we were going to win it. We could torture her a long time, but now we can definitely win it. I agree that h4 just looks bad. I think the most logical is just to bring our king around right away, right? And then start with the e-pawn. There's not really anything else to do. In general, you don't want to trade any pawns. You just want to make a passed pawn, distract the king, and then go collect all the remaining pawns with your king. So I would I'll just blitz out a few moves to show you how I would play this kind of an endgame as white. They could take or like wait around, right? But if they wait around, we just play here, threatening to come here. So they'll end up taking anyway at some point. We get something like this, and you just play here. If they make waiting moves with this, we just move back and forth. Eventually they have to come back, forward, here, 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 here. Okay? That's like, I would say, a fairly straightforward technique for winning this position. I think it bears mentioning since we did allow a draw. That tells you the risk of like the h4 move that you guys took is that we actually allowed a draw in this endgame, which is not what we wanted to be doing, right? In this absolute cold win, to trade h-pawns is to decrease our winning chances dramatically. So does this look pretty straightforward to you, or do you guys see any moves for black that you would wonder how to beat here? If black plays king f4, you play king d4 and move your pawn through, right? So like here, here, takes, here, 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 and you should see that we're winning the race. Is f4 a bad move? Probably if the black king comes to e4. Anything wrong with e4 immediately is a fine question. The answer, Baron, is before I analyze whether or not there's anything wrong with it, I'll say this. There's absolutely no reason it would be better to play e4 here than with your king on d3 or d4. Right? In the endgame, you've got a lot of time. The move e4 is going nowhere. You should just completely be out of the habit of even calculating e4. Like, I can look at some variations with you, but like, we need a whole different attitude for the endgame than for the opening and the middle game, right? It's not like a rush to take over the center here. You've got so much time in a lot of these situations. Black can't strengthen their position, so we should strengthen ours and then do stuff. Okay. That said, e4, king e5, threatening to win the pawn. Although it may not even threaten to win the pawn, because if they do win the pawn, king g4 may still win for white. But the problem is we need like a waiting move here. I hope you guys don't suggest h4 in this position. So we know already that it's not that good. So plausibly you end up playing this, and now you don't have a passed e pawn. Now you have to make a passed f pawn by playing g3 and f4. And your remaining material to win the game is getting really slim now. Right? And the plan would be to bring the king around here, play g3 and f4. I'm not even sure you can win this anymore. Actually, I'm sure you can win it, but it's probably very tricky to do. Probably tricky to win. I would want to have at least 20 seconds on my clock to win this position. So that makes sense, folks, to improve our king first and stop even thinking about all these like pawn moves. All the pawn moves you're thinking about, yuck. Put your king on a good square. In the game, we played h4 here, traded it. Trading it is also really bad, by the way. Like h4 on its own, I think doesn't really ruin anything, but trading makes it worse. Here you could play h5 and you're still winning for white. I'm very, very confident, because if this king goes back to try and play g4 and king g5, like so, I think that in this sort of a situation, you may be able to now win with f4 and bring the king around and eventually play e4. That's what I was thinking during the game. Let's see if that's wrong. Even if black didn't have to give way here, in a position like this, you can play e4 check, pawn takes, king e3, and force that trade at some point. So, but here the opponent's going to have to back up. You come here, 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 and then eventually f5, king f4, king g4. Does that make sense? So there was... h4 on its own wasn't like terrible. I mean, it was terrible in the sense that we should just be improving our king. But h4 on its own didn't really like super blow anything. But this move, trading off pawns, irrevocably reduces our winning chances. And then this move, actually, the game ends in a draw if black plays g4. Right? And so the thing to see about this g4 is if you take here, black takes here. You have to recapture. You can't defend this really because, you know, king g4 takes. So you have to take it, and they take here. They've got the opposition, so at some point, black's never going to have to step out of white's way. And at some point, white would have to do something like this, and now their king's not in front of the pawn. Draw. The other branch is white takes here, and then black takes here with this passed pawn. Now, basically, what white has to do is trade one g-pawn for the e-pawn, and then the remaining g-pawn will be a draw. So, like here, 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 for example. And now e3, king g5 should do it. King h5 might also do it, but I'll just show you guys this way. King takes it. Here is the diagonal opposition. King here, king here, king here, king here. Same thing. So this move here, g4, is a bit of a miracle draw. But we really asked for it by trading pawns. Note if there were still pawns on h4 and h6 because we hadn't traded, or even a pawn on h5, we could win by just doing these trades here still. Actually, hang on. How would we win? Let me just try it. So let's go e4, g4, takes. I think we should still be able to win here, but it's tricky. Here, here. Maybe this. This king has to come back. King up here to get across this pawn here, 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 here. Shoot. That's a draw. Oh. There's one winning move here, g4, to defend that. If they ever take, you queen, and if they go back, then now you've saved your h5 pawn and you just come up and win. That seems to be the only way to win, I think. Do I not try to use engines? You've been around this channel before, Ian. No, we try to calculate some stuff. We try to calculate some stuff so as not to become weak. Okay, so in the game, we traded. Then here, g4. Wango, you had some question still about something with this? Question was on fg4, fe4. You thought white still had a chance to win this? Somehow? Okay. I think it's clearly dead. But I'm happy to play out some variations for you if you like. You wanted to play king f2 instead of pushing? Maybe this move. Catching stuff. Hey, Androsh. Thanks for the raid. Chess coach Andras. I think all our followers are your followers and all your followers are our followers by now. But it's very nice to have you all here. Of course, very happy to have you all. Yeah, and we're just analyzing this Vote Chess game that we just practiced against a computer. So for all the raiders coming in here, basically, we have a Vote Chess match on Sunday against another channel, and so today we played a Vote Chess game, and I don't say anything during the game, or almost nothing during the game, so that you guys vote without it being poisoned by my opinions. But now we're going over it to learn something from the game we just played. All right, take care, Andras. All right, we've agreed this is a draw. What time is that match? It's Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific. The normal time for our Sunday tournaments. It's going to be a Vote Chess match this week. The channel we're playing against is called Chess Potzer UK. And pretty much the first thing that I did on Chess Dojo last year with Kostya and Jesse, other than like my kids show on my own, it was participate in that Vote Chess match with them a year ago. So early for the West Coasters. 10 a.m. is not early, Von Eagle. 10 a.m. is not early. And honestly, 10 a.m. is like the latest we can start for people in India, for example. Was White winning this endgame? Yes, White was, Bob Sacamano. And we did actually win it, but we played a bunch of bad moves. We traded this pawn, and then we played e4 before improving our king. And in this position, we were just saying that Black had a miracle draw with g4, spotted by Falk, if you know Falk. He spotted this one within the 30 seconds that we were voting, which was amazing. We allowed this. The computer just straight up blundered this thing here and lost the game to us. But we were saying that correct technique for this endgame is not to make any random pawn moves, not to make any trades, but to improve our king first, since we can do so and then play whatever pawn move we want. So king f2. Dum 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 dum. And I just demonstrated how simple it is if you improve the white king first with one line like that. The computer is not that bad, Fisher Seb. It just throws in some errors here and there. It's the same Lee that you saw us fail to beat last time, in which you found that amazing h3 winning move that we didn't play. So, yeah. Exactly. There's so much time to improve the king. Why not improve it? So we have to learn not to hurry too much. All right, let's look through the whole game a little bit from the beginning. This opening went immediately very well for us when the computer didn't play bishop c5. Although even against bishop c5, there's a chance that we can win that pawn with queen g4, right? I don't know what you all were planning. You were probably going to play some normal developing move. But I was really thinking queen g4 to try and win a pawn. Oh no, our opponents are here. They've seen our secret preparation. Everything is ruined. Wait, quick. Don't tell them what opening this is. I think they've already seen it all. Oh, man. Now, if your opponents get to watch your preparation, you're better off not preparing. That's a tip for Jan Nepomniachtchi. You know, if he's gonna publish videos of his online of his opening preparation, he may as well just not do any opening prep. But yeah, Chesspatzer UK, have you guys seen this overlay that we have here? Do you see how this works? I don't know if you guys are planning to use this on Sunday, if Kostya told you about this or not. But we've been using this tool, and it's really, really helpful. I mean, it's not beautiful, it's not perfect, but it seems to do the job. Basically, what happens is at some point, like I create a move vote, and then, you know, you can see time ticking down, and on this gray board, you can click like D2 to D4 if you want to play D4, or F7, F5 if you want to play F5, and then it just tallies the votes for you. So it could be an upgrade from a year ago, maybe. And it's called VoteChess.com. So if you want to find it or use it, I think if you mouse over it, you can also find a link to using it. All right, Von Igelfeld says this crazy David move would allow D5. Yeah. Fair point. Fair point. What a useless move this was. What a slug I am. Horrendous. Now I feel like a real toad for wanting to go win this pawn with my queen and getting tempoed by D5. All right. Enjoy your work, and we'll see you on Sunday. Normal developing move with bishop c4 might be better, yeah. But can I revise queen g4 and try and get like even niftier trying to win this pawn? Jesse's going to slap me for this grubbiness. Okay. All right, luckily for us, this was the first of Lee's bad moves. C5 was played. Here, there was D takes E3. Wango, you're in an aggressive state of mind. The whole basis of our play was that this pawn was unable to move. Okay, anyway. So Lee plays this bad move. We took it. We win a pawn. We get here. Now, this bishop's a little bit awkward, right? And I think probably just bishop b2 would have been a really good move here. But we played bishop d3, c5, here, c4, here. This is all fine. Castling is fine. All right. Here, a4 and knight a3. From Wango is a pretty cool idea right here. It can also be done on this move here. I think bishop f3, knight h6 doesn't really ruin anything for white, but here the bishop's attacking this pawn, so if we want to go for knight a3, it makes sense to do it while the bishop's here. If we play knight a3 first, as some people suggested, then b5, and our knight's just locked here and it's not good. And somebody said we could follow up with c3 and get the knight back in the game, but at the cost of this bishop. So I don't think we need to be like really terrified of b5, but it will completely cancel out knight a3. So our main choice here would be a4, knight a3 if we want to make that into a thing, or just sort of bishop f3, d3 like we played in the game. Bishop d3 wasn't necessarily a wasted move, Ilgolfeld, because black just moved the c-pawn pointlessly. Seb says we could push the f-pawn here. Yeah, the f-pawn push is a cool idea, Seb. And a4, knight a3 is a cool idea. But this position is so non-standard. It's so weird, you know, like that knight c3 wouldn't maybe be a great move because it blocks the bishop. And what are we supposed to do with it? And, you know, we're not playing d3 or e4 or d4. We're pushing this pawn or this pawn. It's a little bit weird. I like that a4 lets us develop this knight. I really like that. It has a Fischer random feel to it because it's not just like standard moves are correct. If we played f4, I mean, the opponent was playing knight h6 anyway, maybe to stop that. Maybe it wouldn't have made a difference. I like a4. I'm going to just come out in favor of Wango's idea. a4, knight f6, knight a3, right? I mean, it's just unpleasant for black. I don't know what they're supposed to do about it. I would say we're kind of just winning the game here. Thing is, black can't even castle as fast as we're playing knight a3, can they, Seb? Black has to develop both of these pieces. We're planning to go up 2 pawns here. Oh, castling queenside. Okay. a4, castles queenside, knight a3, c3 would be disastrous for white, but the bishop could just take. I might even throw in bishop d4 here. Just do that before this bishop could get here. Block this file up. We play here and then do this. So I'm going to come out in favor of Wango's early a4 with knight a3. I think makes a lot of sense. In the bishop f3 line, I think I'm going to go with Michiko's suggestion, playing d3, knight d2 instead of knight c3. This move here is keeping black from playing simple development. So why play knight c3? Well, because we wanted to bring out the knight, right? But now a4, knight a3 is not as good without c4 being attacked by our bishop. So I would say now probably d3 with the idea of knight d2. Should come out well for white. What do I think of d4? It's interesting. It's interesting. It seems to block the bishop, but your idea is to just keep going, right? Not to leave the bishop blocked. So you threaten d5. If rook d8, you can probably play e4, just re-threatening d5, right? And this is not possible. So you threaten d5, so maybe you get black to trade, then you take here, and then you're just trying to quickly switch the pawns off of the color of this bishop. It looks like white can get control over e4, d5 here. So it looks like actually a very good move, Wango. Yeah. Wow, Alf Books, 5.9 seconds, huh? Well, I'm glad to hear you're doing that work. Yeah, c takes d3 is kind of what white wants anyway, Fischer said. It's just, you know, making some space for the pieces and starting to advance in the center. So in the game, we ended up playing like knight c3, bishop e7, d3. And black doesn't even take, right? Because if we take, we end up with a weak backward c pawn. So if d4 threatening d5 is strong enough to make the opponent trade, then that's what we want to do. Okay, so we get to this position, then played a4, got here. Everything's going well for us despite some lack of precision. Did you guys notice that this move was slightly bad? Because it cost us a lot of, like, a lot of people probably played this thinking, like, let's win a tempo. But it actually, like, loses a tempo because of this. Knight b5 probably has the same problem of rook c1, right? So what would be a better move than what we did? Michiko noticed it. Great. That's good, Michiko. Okay, one thing would be d4 to not be losing this pawn. The piece you most want to move here is what? What do you most want to move? Your center pawns, your bishop, your rook, your knight, this rook? What's a priority here? The piece we would most like to move is the queen. That's right, Egelfeld and Giant Slalom. Because we want to get this rook connected to this rook. We want to put this rook on d1 or on c1 after trading rooks. Like, this is blocking this in. It's a problem. So we can look at queen f3, queen b3. How do you guys feel about that sequence? The black pieces, two of them got pretty active, but we won a second pawn. Black doesn't have to give the second pawn. Right, they could not go for rook b8 here, right? And play a move like this. That would be the big option. And then the nice thing is that white has this move, knight d5. This won't be that nice if we lose the bishop. Oops. Queen takes d5 was covered by our queen. But rook b8, oops. I didn't see that coming. Okay, hang on. Can I play rook d1 first? Where's that queen going? Does she have anywhere really good? She could go back to g6 to defend this bishop. But if she does that, I might be able to grab my second pawn all over again, right? Because now this is defended. Yeah, in general, we're stronger with the passed pawn. But it's worth calculating queen b3 and f3 takes because you're, attacking two more pieces. And if you could play it, your queen's more active on these squares than queen e2, which I think was the sane move that some people were recommending, was just queen e2. Very, very simple. Connecting the rooks. She's just covering our weaknesses, which are knight g4 and queen d3. And, now we'll eventually be able to play rook d1 and any pawn moves we want in the center. The hanging bishop is defended by the queen as well. She's really covering everything that could have been a problem. So, it was pretty nice. Okay, and Wango says maybe just d4. And then you can put the queen on something like d3 or b3 and keep pushing pawns. Yeah, I mean, it temporarily blocks this in, but with a 2-on-0 pawn center, we should be able to advance the pawns at will. This looks okay. Just wonder about maybe queen b4. Just having an answer ready for that move. Maybe knight d5 does it. Yeah. Here, check, and this. So honestly, I would like you guys to think of moves like queen e2 as being good looking moves. I would like to give you that feel. That just a simple move like this can be very, very healthy for your position. In general, I feel like the group of us who were voting today tended to vote a little for like forcing action and like hurrying, you know, like accomplishing something kind of quickly, right? But could benefit from some more, you know, patient, strong moves. So queen e2 is a very simple move that could be strong, right? So here we rushed and got forced back. This was a good maneuver to bring the knight back to c4, I think. But then here we rushed again, right? This is again a position I said I would probably just play rook d1 here. Just get the rook off f1, defend this some more. Options for bishop a3 next. Oh yeah, knight d5 there could be good, Fisher, in your suggestion, yeah. Fisher Seb saying maybe this. Right? Because we've got threats here, here, and here. And amazing development, right? The bishop can't be defended. The bishop doesn't have lots of good places to go. If it goes somewhere like this, then sometimes you can win like this. And I guess if it goes to d8, you just win the rook. And yeah, I'm not really sure what black does in this position. It looks potentially crushing. But okay. Let's continue on. We made the same kind of mistake, right? I think like 4 or 5 times this game, the mistakes we made were mistakes of just trying to do something too quickly, right? Without preparation, without strengthening our position. That was the type of error we made all day. Or all night, or whatever, you know, all game. So knight e5 check was bad. Correct here would be probably rook d1 or bishop a3 moves as suggested. Even knight a5, which is relatively better, goes like this, and then you end up trading this pawn for this pawn. I mean, you have chances, but there's very good chances of a draw as well. So correct to me would be like rook d1 or bishop a3. Just moves improving white's coordination and not doing anything. I mean, it's weird that black left the king here, but if you can't beat it, you can't beat it. No reason to burn our energy. So here. This move is very strong, by the way. A lot of people were like dubious about going and grabbing this pawn. It was like the only thing to really do here. I think I wouldn't have seen it during a game, probably, but it seemed like the only way to try and get something going. That said, I think the opponent should still probably have enough to draw, but this idea that you can check, take, and get back and cover c1 is nice. The opponent should play knight g4 here, but I feel like they did something weird. Oh yeah, it's here they played this instead of knight e5. This was like the next gift from Lee. I'm pretty sure that knight e5 would have drawn immediately. The tempi would have been exactly the same, Wango, no? We would do the same thing with the king on e6 as we did with the king on g6. We don't need the d file, we only need the c file. Why is knight f6 so much worse? As Ian is saying, because black needs knight d3, I think, to draw the game. Because h3 is giving us king h2. But then knight d3. Bishop a3, knight f2. Actually, I didn't look this far ahead. I didn't quite look this far. No, we don't have rook c3, Seb, because on rook c3, black just plays knight d3 anyway. Maybe the reason they didn't go knight e5 was because of this bishop a3 move. Wow. I didn't see that during the game. Yeah, Giant Slalom, you're absolutely right. G7 is what we need to target. It's like the thing to go after in this endgame. Okay, so you want to go here, here, king e6, here. Oh, and now you want to go rook d5, right? Oh. And there's no way to cover this. Whoa. And our rook is attacked here, huh? Wow, she really handed us this gift too, didn't she? Oh no, you're right. It does matter. This is totally different. Wow. She just handed this to us. That king to g6 move, letting us play the game on up a pawn, and instead she could have done this. Jeez. Okay, well, if it's any consolation, we're still not going to lose here. You can play any move you want to get rid of back rank mate, and you shouldn't lose, right? Because, like, check, here, takes, here, knight has to move, and takes here. Knight and pawn is not better than 4 pawns. So we're not going to lose this endgame. But yeah, I mean, that rook d5 move is a big deal. I mean, we're definitely not like, we're not trying to win anymore for white. It's just a tough endgame that could go either way. So yeah, rook d5. Yikes. What's the check on a6 supposed to do for us, Igelfeld? Ultimately, we can't stop this, right? Force the king to... Yeah, the king's got to stay on light squares. And then white can resign, right? We're just going to play one game, Michiko, probably on Sunday. Because one game probably takes 1 to 2 hours. You know, it's sort of like it's a medium slow process. Not quite a classical game, but I don't know how much time Kostya and Patzer UK have agreed to have per move, but there'll probably be some even more discussion than like today. Slower than today's game. White has g4 surviving. Oh, yeah, you're right. And then that gets her back rank mate, so there's time to save this piece. That said, after here, you know, here, check here. Black's going to collect like every single white pawn. So white will still be struggling in that position. Wow. Okay, so this was the game. This was another gift from her. And I was shocked when she played it. I expected king e6, but I didn't see that rook d5 move. That's the reason. So we get this, here, here, here. Now we're doing good. Okay, so hang on. So I would have tried like here. This is a tough defense for black, I think. You can bring the king up. You can eventually expand the e-pawn. G4, F4. Oh, I didn't properly see that, huh? Yeah, that's a good move. That's a good move. Okay, maybe I won't even play G4 if that's the move for black. Maybe I'll bring my king to f3 first, and then maybe play for g4. Learning the same thing a second time. I just wonder if black can play h5 in these positions, or if it just weakens black's position even more. Probably is too much weakness. If the pawn were back on f7, you would play like g6, h5 to restrain white's pawn advances. But here, having already played this, if the king's headed this way and we played this for black, I just don't believe that black should be creating new weaknesses, right? Feels like really, really brutal. So we should probably bring our king up here to f3, and this is a lot of torture. This is a lot of torture for black, because like this is a target, but if you move it up, you become even weaker on these squares, and the knight can get harassed eventually by f3, 4, and have nowhere to go. There's also the plan of playing g4 at some point to try and trade the f pawn for white's g or h pawns and create the e pawn as a pass pawn that way, just by trading this one off. It's a really tough position for black, I think. Does black not want to exchange pawns and keep pieces? In general, yes, von Iggelfeld. So this is why this is like an unusual moment. Here for white, we played rook c5, trading rooks. And normally if you're the person with the extra pawn, you trade down like this and increases your winning chances. But here, with 4 on 3 on one side of the board, bishop versus knight, I was feeling very, very high drawing chances for the opponent. So in that case, you actually want 2 pieces instead of 1, so you can try and outmaneuver them and create threats. So I would say like rook c5 that we played makes the game more drawish, and bishop c5, like I'm suggesting, has more torture potential here. Even though normally it's white who wants to trade pieces and black who doesn't. I don't know if that's explained well enough. Oh my god, it's midnight. All right. I'm going to wrap it up here. I know often I stream until 1, but you know, I'm in some physical discomfort from the vaccine and a shoulder injury, and I'm just gonna keep it a little more under control and get a little more sleep than usual. So, but we pretty much made it to the end. Hopefully that last explanation made some sense about why I would keep the 2 pieces to torture. If it doesn't make sense, I'm still right about this, so keep it in your head, and maybe one day I'll be able to, or someone else will be able to explain it better to you. And yeah, what else? I mean, we were right to take the knight, but Li shouldn't have allowed us. So she gifted us the d pawn in the opening. She gifted us that king g6 instead of king e6. She gifted us the bishop for knight trade, and then she gifted us not playing g4 with a draw at the end. We got like 4 gifts this game. About. Anyway, we reached that 2,000 level. We achieved our goal. We won a game against Li, and an interesting game. Let me copy this and see if I have somewhere I want to clip it later, because these games are quite interesting. Maybe I just put it in the post-mortem file. Three aim Wango, yeah. It was an interesting game. We played your Polish, so you had to stick through to the end. Oh god, you 3M people, you guys need better sleep habits. I've got bad sleep habits, but I'm telling you. All right, 429-21 versus Li. Chess game. Okay, I saved it. It's a cool game. You know, This position here, without trading rooks would be quite good for our endgame tournaments. This is a good one to practice and try and get better at, or for Kosi and I to work on. Something like this would work. The joys of being young. Well, good for you. Enjoy it. I enjoyed it when I was young. All right, let's send a raid somewhere. Let's see what people are doing. Last time at this point I raided Chess Mood, and they were just kind of playing Blitz. Rabin. Doghouse. Vibes. Alright. I need to find out about some more good streams to share with you guys when it comes time for rating, but whoops. Anyway, all in due time. At some point when our own channel has like reached a point of success, I will go and do some significant research and find other resources for people, and have like a better list of recommendations. But for now, I wish you all a good day. For those of you for whom it's night, I wish you to sleep. Ciao.